Alright, so sorry for the awkward beginning. I watched this video this morning, so I'm gonna start this my video with this video from South China Morning Post.
Has not yet become a global health emergency.
管制出入口，控制疫情嘅傳播。喺呢一方面咧，我哋都要做事。第一，我哋將無限
Right about here is probably when I started to take it seriously. Just so you know, around the 25th of January is about when I started to take it seriously.
14天。
All right, so that video I watched this morning, and I just felt like it really nicely summarized what's been going on. And today, the World Health Organization officially declared this a pandemic, a global pandemic. Um, we're seeing a lot of fake news out there. Apparently, people are buying up toilet paper. I don't know what that's about. That's definitely not a thing here in China. So if you're in the US or any other country where they're buying up toilet paper, you can let them know that you watched a video of someone living in China and we are not concerned about toilet paper. There's a myriad of reasons for that, but I mean, that's really like the least concern of our lives. So we're not looking for making sure we have enough toilet paper to survive. So I don't know what's going on with that. Glenn Beck is going to do a special tonight, and I'm hoping I can watch it. I know you can hit whether you like Glenn Beck or not. I think there's like no middle road for Glenn Beck. I think people either really like the guy or really hate the guy. But he's doing a thing on coronavirus. I don't 100% agree with a lot of what, not a lot, but I don't 100% agree with some of the things that Glenn Beck says or presents. However, at the same time, I feel like he really does do his research and he does get a lot of knowledge out there for us to hear. So I want to watch it and see what he has to say. The thing that they've kind of been pointing out lately too is that this is worse than the flu pandemic. And I believe that as well, because I could be around someone with the flu and the chances of me catching it are pretty slim. I know that sounds pompous of me, but it's true. Like, I never get flu shots. I don't wear a mask during flu season. I'm around people that are sick all the time, and I very rarely get sick. Of course, when I do get sick, it's a doozy. I usually get bronchitis, which is why I said, like, the only reason I shouldn't even say concerned, because I'm really not. But the biggest concern for me is that I'm 40. I don't feel like I'm in the age bracket that it's a real concern if you get COVID-19. I don't feel like I'd straight up die. But I also have a mild case of asthma that developed from an untreated pneumonia when I was a teenager and damaged my lungs. I smoked a little bit when I was a teenager. That damaged my lungs. There's pollution here in China. That's damaging my lungs. Plus, people are smoking here in China. And for some reason, between the hours of 7 and 9, there's some inconsiderate guy that smokes somewhere near my apartment, and it comes into my apartment. I finally ordered an air purifier that I can plug in next to my bed, if it'll ever ship and get here. And that way, when that happens, I can turn on that air purifier so I'm not breathing in secondhand smoke. It's so inconsiderate. If you are a smoker, please think about other people. I get it. But you know what? Me popping open a soda can and chugging it next to you is not going to kill you. Whereas you smoking a cigarette next to me is going to frickin' affect my lungs. So I'm just telling you, have some frickin' consideration. Moving on. Point in case. So, why did I bring up Glenn Beck? I don't know. I went off on a tirade. So I brought up Glenn Beck because he was talking about like how he was going to do this coronavirus thing. And he was saying that there were two forms of people. So he's saying there's a group of people, you're either panicking or you're like people overreacting. I don't agree. So like I said, there's some things I don't agree that he says. I don't agree there's only two forms of people because I'm living in the middle of this and I'm not doing either. I had my moment of lackadaisical, oh, people overreacting, this is dumb. And that was until the very last week of January when I started to really see that this is probably something I should pay attention to. And I've had my moments of panic. The last couple days I've had a bit of a cough, but once again, I'm very acutely aware I have no temperature, nothing else that's making me feel like I'm sick. I'm keeping an eye on it. I blame it on the pollution. It's been very polluted here the last few days in China, so I blame it on that. So I don't believe you're either or. I don't believe you're either overreacting or not reacting at all. I believe that there's also the people that are logically reacting, such as me and most of the people in China. We are not freaking out. We're not freaking out. Some of us might be, but most of us here are totally just going on with life as best we can based on what we've got going on. So I don't fully agree. There's not a black and white here. There's also the gray, and most people live in the gray. Just be smart. I have said that in so many videos, and I feel like I'm just like a broken record, but just be smart. Be smart. That's all you have to do. Be smart about it. You don't have to you don't have to worry about um, being overly insane about it. You don't have take precautions. If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask, not necessarily a surgical mask, because the only people that really need to wear those are first responders and people that actually have the virus. But if you feel comfortable wearing a mask, and trust me, they are not comfortable. I feel like I'm smothering in it every time I put it on. But if you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. Don't be stupid. Don't hoard it. And toilet paper is not going to help you with the virus in any way, shape, or form. I mean, I really doubt there's going to be a shortage of toilet paper. People just chill out. Chillax your life. So this is March 12th, and this is the update. Once again, here are the graphs for all you wonderful graph-loving people. So we're looking at only 8 new cases in Hubei, 10 new deaths. The numbers in Hubei have really dropped. And I had hypothesized a couple times it might just be because there's really nowhere else for the virus to infect. But when they said that in that video, that 5 million people had left Wuhan alone before the lockdown happened, then that tells me that the numbers here might just be a smaller percentage, and my hypothesis might be completely wrong. Once again, I'd have to actually research the numbers of Wuhan and Hubei. I still kind of feel like it's just because the virus has run its course in that province, because it's on lockdown, no new people are coming in, it's not getting any new blood, and it's going to fizzle out for that reason alone. If they open up the borders and people start leaving and coming, I think we'll see another explosion. That's just me. I'm not a scientist. Haven't done any research. So do what you want with that. I will remark about that video that one thing I really wondered at was how I had no idea that Japan had... Was it Japan? No, I don't remember. But somebody had gone in and taken their people off that cruise ship right away. I wish all the nations had responded that way. I wish they had said, okay, how many of our citizens are on that ship? Let's get them off. Let's quarantine them. Let's take care of this situation. I think the explosion on that Princess Diamond cruise ship would have been of a heck of a lot less if people had reacted quickly. If the nations had reacted quickly in concern for their citizens. And I feel like we don't do that. America especially. If you looked at the timeline, we see that outbreak in Wuhan. And I told you, like I spoke during part of the video and I said, here's where I started to panic. Not panic, but here's where I started to go, oh, I should probably take this a bit more seriously. And that was, like I said, like toward that last week of January. But you notice the U.S. did not evacuate their embassy or anybody until the end of the month, until the 29th of January. I think we just weren't taking it as seriously as we could have. And we want to point at China and blame China and tell China that they've screwed up. If you look at the responses of these nations and their delays and supporting their own citizens, I think worldwide it was handled pretty poorly. Once again, I am not a high-end government official. I don't work for an embassy. I have no idea what the actual procedures or whatnot are. I'm sure I could find that out if I did research. But once again, people, I hate research. Okay. That's why I like the fact that these numbers exist for me, and I don't have to figure them out for you. But anyway, there we go. Those are the numbers in China. Once again, let's look at Shanghai. No new cases. Still only 21 remaining ill, and 3 deaths still. No new deaths. And we'll go to the live data once again when we're done. So we're looking at Italy has 2,313 more cases, bringing them to 10,590 still infected with 196 new deaths in 24 hours. France has 15 new deaths. Spain has 20 new deaths. So once again, like I said, my theory about Hubei is that it is just the virus has only run its course there because it doesn't have new ways to explode. I feel that once those borders are open, if this thing is not truly tamed, then we're going to actually see the explosion again throughout China. All right, so I don't know why that's in red. Maybe they accidentally put a negative in front of their 14? I don't know. But anyway, we're looking. South Korea only has 114 new cases, so they seem to be tramping down. But, of course, South Korea also went into full-blown lockdown. Italy's in full-blown lockdown as well. Iran doesn't have any new cases today. We're looking at deaths, though, 354, and I question the South Korea one because I feel like that is not 100% accurate. We'll look at the live data for that. So USA has 290 new cases and 9 new deaths, bringing it up to 38. So they have 1,247 cases confirmed in the U.S., still actively confirmed. All right, let's go to the live data here. I hate when nothing happens. You know what? Technology just hates my guts. We try not to try not to say that, but it's true. Okay, so here we go with the graphs once again. Number of daily cases, existing cases, cumulative cases, recovery versus fatality. Okay? Cure rate is really spiked. That's really good. So here we go. We see Hubei with Wuhan. And Shanghai, I'm not even going to bother showing you because we're still fine and everything's what it is. Alright, so here we go. So we have Italy with 827 deaths, 12,000 confirmed, plus... But once again, like this doesn't show the breakdown like the other one of those still infected. This is just overall. So 354 deaths in Iran, 67 deaths in South Korea, 48 in France, 49 in Spain, 3 in Germany, 37 in the U.S., 7 from the Diamond Ship, 3 from Switzerland, 14 from Japan. I don't know about you guys, but I freak out about things that, like, when you're just doing life and something bad happens, and I mean, that's the way it is, and regardless of things. But these people went on a cruise, and, you know, they were just living their best life. That kind of stuff disturbs my soul. But there you go. So those are live numbers. Let's get through this, because I'm already at 19 minutes, and I don't like to keep these videos too long. So here we go. The World Health Organization declares coronavirus a pandemic. The novel coronavirus, I always mispronounce that, is the first pandemic caused by a coronavirus. Describing the situation as a pandemic does not change WHO's assessment of the threat posed by this coronavirus. It doesn't change what WHO is doing, and it doesn't change what countries should do. Italy closes all its shops and venues. Italy would close all restaurants, bars, and shops across the country. Only pharmacies and supermarkets will be allowed to remain open. Food deliveries. That's pretty much what China did. Shanghai. And then slowly started. First person from Italian parliament to test positive. He's in good condition. USA suspends travel from Europe. President Trump promised to deliver the most aggressive and comprehensive effort to combat the virus. A ban on travel from Europe for 30 days. Doesn't apply to UK. NBA suspends season after player tests positive. See? This is what Mr. LeBron James this is exactly what they were trying to do. So, NBA suspended its season after a player tested positive for the coronavirus, the league announced in a statement on Wednesday. The test result was reported before the cancellation of Wednesday's night game. The player was not present. So, there you go. Good job NBA, because they are totally keeping everybody safe, and that sucks right there. Tom Hanks announced Wednesday night that he and his wife Rita Wilson were diagnosed with coronavirus while traveling in Australia. I really like Tom Hanks and his wife. Rita and I are down here in Australia. We felt a bit tired, like we had colds and some body aches. Rita had some chills that came and went, slight fevers too. To play things right, as is needed in the world right now, we were tested for coronavirus and were found to be positive. Well, now, what to do next? The medical officials have protocols that must be followed. We Hanks will be tested, observed, and isolated for as long as public health and safety requires. Not much more to it than a one day at a time approach. No, we'll keep the world posted and updated. Take care of yourselves. Thanks. I think I follow him on Twitter too. Anyway, let's be praying for let's just pray for everybody. There's no point in just praying for certain people. I really like Tom Hanks. First death in Ireland, Sweden, Indonesia, and Belgium. So let's look at Ireland. Didn't tell us. Sweden didn't tell us. Belgium, she was 90. And Indonesia, 53. China Customs releases new health declaration on March 11th. The 4th edition. I don't really usually have stuff to claim in customs, but you never know. Kuwait will halt all commercial flights to and from. Lebanon will halt all flights. Russia has suspended flights. Will ban. So this is a thing too. Like eventually, China will be like, "Oh yeah, you can fly," and then everywhere else won't let us. Virus will infect up to 70% of Germans. Expert estimates that up to 70% of the population could be infected. You have to understand that if the virus is there and the population has no immunity yet to this virus, there are no vaccines and no therapy so far, a high percentage. Experts say 60 to 70% of the population will be infected. If you're not taking the correct precautions, yes. Because if you look at, okay, so what she's saying is 100% true. However, there are still ways to prevent that from happening. Like right now with Shanghai. Shanghai is a huge, huge, huge city. It is ginormous. It is highly populated. And because they have taken the precautionary measures they have taken, we only have 300 some cases here. So while what she says is true, because if it's here, there's no natural immunity to it, and there's no vaccine, it could very well infect up to 70% of the population. 100% true. However, also not, because if you take the right precautions and you're smart about it, that can be prevented. And that's not an opinion. That is proven by the numbers throughout China. Which, let's just scroll our little butts back up there real quick. All right. So we have up here with Hubei, and then look how big Hong Kong is as well. Look at that. And look how low their numbers are. Look at Shanghai. Because all of these provinces and Hong Kong chose to, and Taiwan and all of these chose to initiate protocols as quickly as it was feasible for them to do so with the knowledge they had. And the numbers are so low, it is not 70% of the population infected. So, like I said, while that expert is true, he's saying an accurate thing, it is defeatist to believe, like, well, 70% is going to get it, so let's just expect that. No, you should actually be a bit more positive, and there could be more to this article. She could have actually said, but if we use prevention measures such as washing our hands, not touching our face, limiting big group activities, blah, 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 learn from China. Learn from China. NBA, I still applaud you. Very good. All right. So the Dow tumbles into a bear market, whatever that means. I literally don't know anything about the stock market, people. I know that it can totally destroy something if it crashes. That's about all I know. All right. Up to 150 million Americans are expected to contract the coronavirus, congressional doctor says. Once again, while that number can feasibly be true in a hypothesis situation, if you're logical about it, you're fine. Take the preventative measures. The problem with America is we are very self-entitled. And I can say that as an American. I was sitting here, and I live in an apartment right now where it's like a refurbished hotel. So I have to pay every month to add electricity and water to these little cards. And my electricity card has to go into a slot to feed electricity, like a lot of hotels do to conserve power. You have to feed it in a slot, put it in a slot. And every time I add to it, I have to climb up into the very top of a cabinet and stick the card in so it processes it. And then I had to purposely buy a stepladder for that. Then my water goes under the sink and it has to rest on this little platform for me to have water. Well, today my water shut off because something happened to this stupid feeder thing. I got completely frustrated and pissed off. And at one point I'm like, I shouldn't have to be without water. That's one of the basic human rights. Granted, it is. But I realized in the midst of my mental breakdown, I was literally without water for maybe 30 minutes. And I had bottled water. You don't drink the tap water here anyway. But I realized in that breakdown I had that was definitely a first world problem and definitely a first world hissy fit. You know what I'm saying? So, if you will just not, I'm like, why did I go off on that tangent? Because we're talking about America. If you will not panic and stock up on toilet paper instead of just being really smart and keeping your face, your hands away from your face, keeping your hands washed, you know, be willing to give up big social things right now, like Comic Cons, expos, blah blah blah, just for a time. Deny yourself these luxury things, and we won't see an explosion like we have in China and South Korea. Just start being smart about big groups of people coming together and take precautionary measures. And probably don't travel outside the U.S. for a little bit of time. All right, Beijing to screen arrivals from overseas. 14-day mandatory quarantine is pretty much standard across the world. Two new technologies kill the virus. Hong Kong University, an antibactericidal coating that can kill coronavirus and other viruses. And it has been used in over 70 local kindergartens. I don't like how they worded over local 70 kindergartens. I don't think they meant to do it that way. Primary and secondary schools, elderly homes. Guys, let's please take care of our elderly. As they were saying, like, while kids can catch us and we definitely want to protect our kids, I'm not saying that at all. It affects the elderly more. It's killing more of the older people. Let's protect our elderly population. Air purifier technology that can kill it. Costs up to 3,000 Hong Kong dollars. Well, that's going to be real helpful for all of us people that don't make that kind of money. Anyway, moving on. Another thing, too, is be very careful about fake things. Somebody's been selling fake masks. They sell fake everything. People are just evil. They take advantage of situations to make money, and they're evil. People are inherently evil. People say, hurt people, hurt people. No, people just hurt people because they're evil. We are innately evil. It's just honest truth. That people get a sick pleasure out of it. It is not, I've been hurt, so I'm hurting you. No, you get a sick pleasure out of hurting people. And granted, you've been hurt, and I'm not denying that truth at all, but you're not hurting because you were hurt. You're hurting because something in you likes it. That's the way it goes. You can take that or leave it. I'm not a psychologist either. Because there's too much science involved. India will suspend all tourist visas. I gotta move on. This is already 30 minutes. Wild animal consumption. Yeah, because they kind of stopped that whole thing. Cancels 23,000 flights in April. Panama orders temporary closures of all schools. Denmark shuts schools and universities. The vice president was stricken, and 2 other cabinet members. All visas on arrival. It's been canceled. 26 U.S. states declare a state of emergency. Ooh. I'm from New Mexico, if you don't know that. I'm going to take a screenshot. New Mexico has declared a state of emergencies. And there you go. There are all the ones that declared it. An Italian football player tests positive. And by football, they mean soccer. Not American football. 20% of students across the world are out of school. That's a significant number. And there you go. 31 minutes. I tried, guys. I'm sorry. It was because but this isn't me talking for 31 minutes because that other video was almost 10 minutes. So I'm still right on task with my timing. Okay, but anyway, I'm fine. I'm still alive. Everything is still good. And that is my update for March 12th.